9 10, this is the news on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Minister Olivia Grange says a request has been made to authorize a medal to recognize frontline workers that have been combating the COVID-19 pandemic. During her contribution to the 2021-22 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, Minister Grange described frontline workers as heroes.
Madam Speaker, I've been asked by the Minister of Health and Wellness to commission a special medal to recognize the dedicated service of our heroes on the front line in the fight against COVID. We believe it is fitting that we make this special award to those who have given great service to our nation during this pandemic. We're finalizing the details for Cabinet, and in due course, the country will be advised.
Minister Grange also gave an update on funds raised for personal protective equipment, PPE, for frontline workers.
I'm very pleased to work as part of a united team of members of the entertainment community, members of the Jamaican diaspora, and government entities to stage Telethon Jamaica, Together We Stand, which raised over $60 million to assist the fight against COVID-19. Madam Speaker, after fees, charges, and other expenses were deducted, we were able to transfer a little over $54 million to the National Health Fund.
The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is working to provide emergency supplies and assist in securing critical facilities in countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. PAHO's Director Carissa Etienne says national and local authorities in countries at risk for hurricanes should prepare for the 2021 hurricane season with COVID-19 protocols in mind. She is warning that COVID-19 and the potential devastation of high winds and flooding could make preparation even more critical than usual. Here's a report on her comments at a press brief this week.
The PAHO boss says governments of countries and territories must prepare to work against the dual threat of COVID-19 and the hurricane season. The key, Dr. Etienne says,
the first priority should be bringing transmission under control with public health measures. For example, the wearing of masks, social distancing, the limiting of large indoor gatherings. Those are both effective measures that have the power to disrupt transmission, and they don't cost much. When we apply these and other measures properly, guided by surveillance, countries can limit the impact on their health systems, on their economies, and it can save lives. But let's face it, vaccines are our long-term solution for this crisis. And it is only with enough coverage that countries will be able to fully relax the public health measures. And it is only then that economies can really be restarted and that we can begin the road to economic recovery and economic well-being. We have
June 1 marked the start of the Atlantic hurricane season, which, according to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is forecast to have a 60% chance of above normal activity. The forecast is for 13 to 20 named storms, including 6 to 10 hurricanes and 3 to 5 major hurricanes.
We need a coordinated regional approach with government leadership, private sector investment, expansion of technological and research capacity, and international cooperation. It is only this long-term investment that will ensure that we have all the vaccines needed to curb this pandemic, but importantly as well, that we will have the necessary essential medicines to deal with the whole range of illnesses that threaten our population, that we will have sufficient equipment, and that we will have sufficient supplies.
In a release, PAHO announced that a meeting will be held on June 10 with representatives from the disaster coordination agencies of all countries in the Americas. The online meeting is being held to identify resources and adjust preparedness and readiness plans. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Simone Absalom Gale.
Just about 33,000 students were present for the Grade 6 ability test component of the Primary Exit Profile PEP on May 26. Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief, the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Favour Williams, said all the scripts are now being checked and graded.
The release date and the weighting of the scores are to be determined. As soon as we have that information, we will make it available. One student was reported to be infected with the coronavirus, and preparations were made for the student to sit the exam safely. Another student was reported to be in the hospital, and as per usual, staff was deployed to the hospital to support the student in completing the assignment.
Placement of students in high schools will be done using the May 26 ability test scores combined with the results of the Grade 4 performance task in language arts and mathematics that the students would have taken in 2019. Minister Williams also gave an update on major assessments.
With regards to the postponement of PEP 4 and 5, the ministry would have sent out notification that those exams will be taken in the first semester of the next school year. Diagnostic tests. These are ongoing. They are started on the 25th of May, and we would have seen our grade 9 students taking the diagnostic test in mathematics and English language, our grade 7 and 8 as well during the period of May, the last week in May into June. Our grade 6 students would also be taking the diagnostic test in mathematics, language art, science, social studies. And following that, we will have our grades 4 to 5. I think in this week they're doing that. And the last group would be the grades 1 to 3 during the week of June 14 to June 18.
Over 6,000 students have opted to defer sitting exit examinations, which were recently rescheduled. This was announced by Education, Youth and Information Minister Favour Williams at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief. The Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE, and Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence, CCSLC examinations, which were scheduled to commence on June 15, have recently been pushed back to Thursday, June 28.
Our preliminary review shows that 5,987 CSEC students have requested deferral. In terms of CAPE, 292 students would have requested deferral.
The minister also spoke to the release of exam results.
Plans are in place to have the exam results released by either late September or the first week in October 2021. And CXC has also indicated that consideration will be given in the grading process to account for the psychosocial effect of the pandemic on the students.
The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, wants electrical charging facilities for electric cars regulated. The OUR, in a release, suggests that the government negotiate with the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, to provide a license amendment which would exclude electric vehicle charging, EV, from an activity that would be considered a supply of electricity. According to the OUR, the approach would help to mitigate the risk of legal challenge, especially when EV charging markets would become available in the country. This suggestion follows JPS's recent launch of a charging station for electric vehicles. The plan is to establish several charging units across the island. State Minister in the Ministry of Information Robert Morgan is promising transparency regarding a probe into the circumstances surrounding the death of a baby at the Spanish Town Public Hospital. The State Minister was speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
Primarily and fundamentally, the welfare of our citizens who interact with the healthcare system is paramount in the consciousness of the government. And I just want to reiterate again our sincere condolences to the mother who lost her child. And we can assure that the Ministry of Health and the government is looking into the matter, and there's an investigation taking place, the results of which will be made public so that people will appreciate what the circumstances were and if actions need to fall and who they will fall on.
Shanique Armstrong lost her baby at the hospital last week. She has since claimed that the nurses on duty did very little to assist her in delivering her baby. The senior medical officer at the hospital, Dr. Jacqueline Wright James, says based on the preliminary findings, the 26-year-old was not assisted with having the baby. The Southeast Regional Health Authority, SERHA, has launched a probe into the case, the results of which were expected on Wednesday, June 9. In the meantime, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, in a release, said he is very concerned about a series of incidents in hospitals in recent times involving our patients, and in particular in the area of maternal care involving mother and child. He said, quote, "While I believe in due process and so have asked the regional health authorities and specific health institutions to investigate each incident to determine cause and/or culpability, I am concerned about the deaths, pain and suffering to Jamaicans and their families and friends from these issues and the physiological impact on our society as a whole." End quote. Motorists will pay more for gas and diesel when they go to the pumps this week. We get this plus other news and market details in this business report. The Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ is reminding business persons that their second quarter estimated corporate income tax or self-employed statutory payments are due on Tuesday, June 15. Employers' monthly statutory payroll deductions for the month of May are due on June 14. In a release, the tax authority encouraged business persons to use its online service option to file and pay the monthly payroll statutory deductions and quarterly payments now due. In addition to the various online options now available, persons are being reminded that tax payments may still be made at any of the 28 tax offices island-wide. Employers paying over monthly statutory deductions are reminded that they can benefit from an employment tax credit by paying their SO1 on time. The TAJ is encouraging persons to honor their tax obligations by making payments on or before the respective due dates to avoid additional interest and penalties. According to the latest ex-refinery costs from state-owned oil refinery Petrojam, motorists should see an increase at the pumps in the prices of gasoline and diesel effective Thursday, June 10. 87 and 90-octane gasoline will be sold for $147.73 and $153.44 per liter, respectively up by $3.06. Following an increase of $3.02, automotive diesel fuel will be sold for $140.01 per liter, while ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by $3.01 and will be sold for $149.22 per liter. Kerosene increased in price by $2.58 and will be sold for $116.06 per liter. Propane liquid petroleum saw a price increase of $1.38 and will be sold for $58.05 per liter. Butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $64.24 per liter, following an increase of $3.06. Expect price changes as marketing companies and retailers will add their respective markup to these prices. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index declined by 915 points to close at over 425,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 92 stocks, of which 38 advanced, 40 declined, and 14 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 22 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for Access Financial Services Limited, Caribbean Cream Limited, and Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica, 1834 Investments Limited, and Barita Investments Limited. Trading firm were AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, CAC 2000 Limited, and Elite Diagnostic Limited. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with 1.7 million units, followed by Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 1.5 million units, and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 1.5 million units. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, June 9, the US dollar sold for an average $149.72. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $125.11. The pound sterling traded for $212.95, and the euro sold for an average $185.54. In market data for oil, Brent crude futures rose 21 cents to settle at $72.43 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures added 9 cents to $70.05 a barrel. And in news further afield, Trinidad and Tobago will spend a total of 107 million TT dollars to vaccinate 85% of the population. This was revealed by Finance Minister Gov't as he delivered his mid-year budget review in the lower house on Wednesday. Sunil Lala reports.
US $15.7 million or TT $107 million will be used to vaccinate 1.2 million people in this country. Due to non-disclosure agreements signed, Finance Minister Gov't says he could not divulge too much information, but said a significant amount of money has already been spent on vaccine procurement.
The Ministry of Finance has made arrangements or already spent US $10.3 million or 70.2 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars on the procurement of vaccines. And the balance to be paid with the current arrangements for the procurement of vaccines is US $5.4 million.
Ms. Steinberg says due to the pandemic, the Ministry of Health has been given a supplementation of 267 million TT dollars, of which a significant amount is for use by regional health authorities.
There is an amount here within the 267 million of $86 million broken down across the various RHAs, with the bulk of the funding, $34 million, going to the North Central RHA, in which the Couva Hospital is located, as well as the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex.
Meanwhile, Mr. Steinberg adds that the police service has also been given an additional 57 million TT dollars for goods and services such as weapons, the rental of vehicles and equipment.
With all that we are doing, the police service will get almost $600 million for goods and services this year. And when you take the $200 million for past bills, they would have available to them some $400 million for 2021, which is a significant sum.
The Finance Minister says the Ministry of Agriculture will also be given an additional 57 million, the majority of which is to continue providing food boxes to those in need. Sonolala, TTT News.
And law enforcement in St. Lucia has promised to intensify police operations after an audacious armed robbery in the heart of Castries on Tuesday. 4 gun-wielding men held up an establishment on High Street, Castries, escaping with thousands of dollars in cash and valuables, leaving staff and customers traumatized.
A daring daylight robbery at a local shipping service company, Here to There, located on High Street in Castries, on Tuesday afternoon left employees traumatized after gun-toting bandits raided the establishment and made off with their ill-gotten gains stolen from the business and its customers. An eyewitness gave an account of the harrowing incident.
St. Lucia is really getting bad. I'm not happy with what's going on right now. I'm still shaky because I've never come across something like that.
Small businesses, most of whom have been struggling to eke out a dollar in the pandemic economy, have been the victims of the firearm brandishing unscrupulous bandits. The criminals have displayed no compunction, pilfering anything of value.
They took every cent. They really had like $15,000. They took all that.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Wayne Shalry is shouldering the blame for a breakdown in police operations that he attributes to an uptick in crime. Shalry says law enforcement will head back to the drawing board. The official, while apologizing for the distress experienced by the unfortunate victims, vows that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force will step up its game.
Police, we are responsible for keeping the city safe. The responsibility is on our shoulders, on my shoulders. So, as I've indicated before, it is my job now to look at our operations, our strategies, and to re-intensify, re-strategize. The business owners, let me say I'm very concerned. Accept, please, my sincerest apologies for the trauma that you would have gone through with this violent crime robbery. And I want to tell you that we will do all in our power to strengthen our various police tactics so that we can limit the opportunities present for those robberies to take place.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created cover for criminals who are using public mitigation measures such as mask wearing to conceal their identity in the perpetration of crime.
We did look at that reverse and understood that it would pose challenges and limitations, basically affording certain criminals greater opportunities with renewed ability to commit more crime. So yes, this is our agenda to look at and to come up with various ways by which we could counteract.
St. Lucia continues to struggle to adequately tackle the perennial issue of crime and violence, which have been compounded by the pandemic-related drawbacks. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
And over in sports, we kick off with football. The Jamaica Football Federation, the JFF, is now scrambling to formalize passports for a number of English-born players. This as the deadline for the submissions of names for the provisional list for the CONCACAF Gold Cup is due Monday. According to reports, Jordan Cousins, Curtis Tilt, Ethan Pinnock, Jamal Lowe and Kemar Roof had on Thursday gained their Jamaican travel documents, which would allow for them to represent the country in official competition. In the meantime, the JFF is hopeful that other players such as Amari Bell, Casey Palmer and Dylan Barnes, whose documents have been processed, could meet Monday's deadline. The Gold Cup will kick off on July 10 and run through to August 1 and will have games at 10 venues in 9 cities across the United States. Jamaica will contest Group C along with Costa Rica, Suriname and a team yet to be promoted waiting to be promoted from the CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminary round tournament. And with that, we call an end to today's newscast. On behalf of our hard-working production team, thanks for watching. This is PBCJ, the People's Station.